Hey everyone, we'll be starting momentarily. Please bear with me while I get everything set up. Okay, that's all done. This can be closed, and this connection seems to be good. Everything seems to be fine, so we can begin. Hello everyone, and welcome to another stream of Apollo Justice Trilogy. Today we're going to be continuing off where we were last time, where we had done some investigating into the current indictment of Athena, where she was like, you killed Clayterra. No, I didn't. And now we're trying to find out the truth. Turns out everyone got kidnapped by robots inside the space facility. Even though we've only been shown 2, 3, there was Ponko, Klonko, and then that cleaning robot, which I think was one of them anyway. But anyway, they had taken hostages. They wanted to get, like, the trial put on hold or something, or make it so then, what was it? Blackwell's execution would be postponed or something. But then we were like, we'll do a retrial of the old case, and they were like, okay, go do that. And we are now, well, we have done that. We investigated, and then we ended up finding out that she actually wanted to, Aura Blackwell, by the way, who was controlling the robots, decided to have the retrial, but for a retrial for the murder of Metis. That was it. I forgot her name for a second. Metis, the murder of Metis from 7 years past, and then she indicted Athena for that murder as well. So now she's got two. She's got two things that she's indicted on, which is great. And Athena's like, did I kill them or not? I don't know. And now we have to try and find out the truth while she's having a mental breakdown. You know, same old, same old. But yeah, we're about to do the first trial inside the ruined courtroom. So yeah, let's go switch over to the game screen and begin. See what we can get up to. Is it showing up on here? Yes. To refresh this. Okay, cool. Is sound being picked up? Yeah, we're good to go. So we're gonna go back because we need to switch the outfits back. Right now. Put you back on. I will put back up these on because it will be slightly weird otherwise. And it kind of makes sense mostly. We'll do that and that. Mostly because at the moment we're kind of in a serious thing, so I kind of just want to have them in their default outfit. We'll probably, if we end up going to investigation, we'll probably switch it back again. But yeah, that's that. Right, load game. Switch. Yeah, I think it's probably best to just put them all in the normal outfits for this. So we'll be fine with that. This one. Load game, yes. No, serious, only silly. December 20th, 3:11 p.m. I need to remember the buttons for some reason. Defendant number 5. I forgot you were here for a moment, Pearls. I did a research. I looked into those special psych locks you mentioned, Mr. Nick. You did? That's great. I really appreciate it. A red psych lock protects a secret person is a secret. Wait, protects a secret a person is consciously trying to hide. If the person falls under questioning, the lock breaks and the truth comes out. Yep, that's exactly how I got the truth out of Detective Fulbright, the Director Cosmos. But a black psych lock protects a secret from the deepest place in a person's heart. A secret that the person isn't even consciously aware of. So even they don't know it's there? Athena isn't trying to keep anything from you on purpose. For some reason, part of her heart and her memories are sealed off, even from herself. Okay, so all I have to do is break the psych locks. According to my research, a black psych lock is like a heavy chain wrapped directly around one's heart. If they're ripped off by force, it could permanently damage to a person's. It could cause permanent damage to a person's soul. You better just say it could permanently damage a person's soul. In other words, if I'm not careful, I could traumatize Athena for good. Ooh. I mean, she's already traumatized. I don't think you can do much more. Don't do more. I'm just joking. You can. Pearls, could you stay by Athena's side? She must be suffering under the weight of such a heavy burden, especially with Apollo trying to go against her now. Alright, will you be alright by yourself, Mr. Nick? I'm up against Edgeworth. I have to be able to give this trial all my focus and strength. You can't do that if I'm there. I'll just hold you back. No, that's not it. I just meant I can relax and concentrate if I knew you were with Athena. You're the only one who can do it, Pearls. Alright. I'll do it then. Good luck, Mr. Nick. Good. Now that my mind is at ease, I'd better get ready. I'll just tidy up the evidence and take out what I don't need. Again! It's time to end this nightmare that started 7 years ago. What did we get rid of this time? December 20th. Number 4. Defense, prosecution, and judge. There are even people in the gallery. Surprisingly, considering the chairs were blown up. What did he get rid of? We still have this. Alright. We got rid of a few things, but I can't recall what they were now. The roof has been completely blown off and the walls have collapsed. But today, this ruin is my battleground. Robot already there. All rise. I can barely see Edgeworth. I can just see his, fluffy bit. The court or some facility thereof is now in session for the trial of Athena Sykes. Not a facsimile, old man. This is a proper official trial. Take this more seriously or I'll start hearing the bones of the hostages snap. Please try not to upset Miss Blackwill. I'm begging you. Court is now in session for the very serious and very proper trial of Athena Sykes. That was a long trug. This is no trial. It's nothing more than ridiculous farce. What did you say? Edgeworth, did you not hear what I just said about his honor? However, this ridiculous farce has a very important meaning for our legal system. Recall the case of the UR1 incident, in which a prosecutor was found guilty of murder. That case ushered in the odious dark age of the law. I see what you're after. You can find the real truth behind the case today. Precisely. The defense will be dispelled, or the darkness will be dispelled, and glory shall be restored to the court system. Prosecutor Edgeworth, you sound like you know something of this truth. I do indeed. A new suspect has emerged in the UR1 case. For 7 years, Simon Blackwell has refused to speak in order to cover for someone else. Brace yourself, Phoenix. Here it comes. I'm sorry, Wright, but the situation is what it is, and I must do what I must. The prosecution moves to indict Athena Sykes of the count of murder in the first degree. Yeah, we kind of knew that. Oh, sudden. Okay, cutscene.
Regardless the circumstance, I intend to question the defendant with all I have. For that is a part of my creed.
And then some, like, dust goes in his mouth. He's like, part of my...
Then you'd better bring it.
If the two of you are ready. Court is now in session for the trial of Athena Sykes.
Your Honor, the defense was born ready.
The prosecution is also ready.
Explosions and fire. This immense tension between us. It's like we're picking up right where we left off. It is my duty to clear Prosecutor Blackwell of false accusations and end this insanity. But I have no intention of losing Miss Sykes either. She's a very promising young lawyer. I know without a doubt that Athena is innocent. But I don't think Prosecutor Blackwell did it either. So, do they have any clue who's responsible for the sabotage? At the very least, I know it wasn't Simon Blackwell. I don't know enough to identify the true culprit, but it's clear what that person was. To put it simply, spy. The true culprit is a spy. It's going to be hard to convince anyone of that when I barely believe it myself. But I don't have a choice if I want to save Athena Blackwell and expose the spy. How do you not believe it yourself when the police believe it? They literally had threats. Of course there's a spy. Why would you not believe that? When everyone else does. Now then, Chief Prosecutor Edgeworth. No need for the Chief Prosecutor, I bet, Your Honor. I am here as a simple prosecutor. Very well. Your opening statement, please, Prosecutor Edgeworth. Although I've been known of late to give an impressive opening statement myself. In all the trials I have ever seen, only the prosecution gives an opening statement. Of course. You're right. I'm just joking. Just having a little fun. So he wasn't doing them just out of fear. Interesting. I mean, he might have done. He's just probably saying that. Let us start with a brief overview of the UR1 incident. The incident occurred at the Cosmos Space Center 7 years ago on October 7th. The victim, psychologist Meta Sykes, was killed in the robotics lab on the 4th floor. Athena's mother. Simon Blackwell, a young prosecutor at the time, was found guilty of the crime. There were two deciding factors that led to his guilty verdict. One, Blackwell was the only person in the corridor at the lab at the time of the murder. And two, this photo, which captured the moment of the crime. Very incriminating evidence indeed. Probably aware of terrorism, not international espionage. Yeah, it's probably an explanation for that. It would appear that the only conclusion is that Prosecutor Blackwell did indeed. Are you kidding me? I am not setting any conclusion of the kind. His opening statement is over. Now, hurry up and call the witness. Excuse me, Miss Blackwell, but we must follow proper procedure for these things, you know. Or perhaps we should heed her wishes, Your Honor. She is the trial sponsors, after all. Besides, the courtroom is chilly, and sitting for too long can't be good for your back. Oh, you're very kind to show such concern for the welfare of the elderly. He's getting under your skin, Judge. He's just trying to pamper you, so you can go his way. As skilled as ever at playing the court puppeteer, I see. The prosecution calls its first witness. A witness who decided to bring forth new testimony after 7 long years. New testimony? And just who is this witness anyway? He said it in the first moment. It was Blackwell. He's probably going to be like, yeah, it was me. Okay, it was him then. Never mind. That makes sense. That makes more sense. Bobby Fulbright's the name. In justice we trust. What are you doing here? I'm just here to speak for the hostage taker, Miss Aura Blackwell. She says she's too busy with the confiding and threatening the hostages and all. That doesn't seem to stop her from constantly chiming in through Clonko. I'm nothing more than an observer in this. Do your best. I'm watching you. Believing her brother innocent, Miss Blackwell had been conducting her own investigation. And though her current actions are hardly lawful, I think we can at least hear her theory. I have here Miss Blackwell's notes on the investigation she conducted. And I'll be giving the testimony based on these notes. Here I go. Witness testimony. I'm so glad they managed to get the apathetic women here again. They're just like, ugh, why am I here? Oh, this seat's so covered in dirt. Ugh. I want to go home. I want to have coffee. I miss my family. Simon isn't the murderer. He was trying to cover for someone. Someone else was at the scene at the time they say Simon committed the murder. I mean, if he really was out to steal the moon rock, then why the rolling case? Because he was using it to hide someone inside. That's why. And the only person small enough to fit inside that case was Athena Sykes. And that's Miss Blackwell's theory. It totally goes in the face of official ruling. About the case she mentions, there were other rolling cases like that one in the lab. But they were not traveling, or for traveling. They apparently for moving parts and equipment. I am trying to bring back his voice, but for some reason it's not working. It's because I got Edgeworth here and he's all posh. I vaguely remember seeing 3 cases, all different sizes. And the last of the trial, they thought that Prosecutor Blackwell used the case to steal the rock. Or at the last trial. And they had a perfect good reason to think that too. You see, there's a security camera in the corridor that leads to the robotics lab. And that camera captured a footage of Blackwell leaving the scene with the case. See why that footage helped bring his trial to a quick end. It's very convincing, that's for sure. 7-year-old video updated in the court record. That case, by the way, was later discovered outside the Space Center grounds. Speaking of after the incident, where was the defendant Athena Sykes found? She was found on the 5th floor of the Space Center in the Sykes family residence. Prosecutor Blackwell most likely brought her there after the incident. In addition, it's unknown whether where Miss Sykes was at the estimated time of death. Miss Sykes was too confused by the shock of her mother to give her proper testimony. And there was no witnesses or evidence to tell us where she might have been. So what you're saying is Miss Sykes didn't have an alibi? That is what the evidence is saying, yes. I understand the reasoning behind the theory, but I'm far from convinced. The victim is the accused's mother. Are you actually claiming an 11-year-old girl? Of course the girl had a very strong motive. Dr. Sykes was a psychologist who wrote many papers about speech and emotions. You're aware of Athena Sykes' special ability, aren't you, Your Honor? Are you referring to that therapy thing? Yes, she's done that quite a few times in court. That's not special ability, that's literally an actual thing you can do. The ability to read emotions from speech, and the subject of her mother's research. Well, as long as it benefits society, I don't see any particular problem researching it. I don't like where this is heading. Not one bit. Dr. Sykes was so intent on her research, she forced her daughter to undergo experiments. Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you seriously suggesting? I've done my research to be delicate. But even you can't deny it to be true, Mr. Wright. No longer able to withstand the anguish of the experiments, Miss Sykes felt her only choice was to kill her own mother. Order in the court. What a tragic story. I hardly want to believe it myself. But we must proceed. Mr. Wright, if you could. Detective Fulbright, please refer to the notes. Here we go. You know, it'd be cool if they had the classic like song in it because they got two of the two original people going against each other. That'd be cool.
Hold it!
So, Prosecutor Blackwell was willingly accepted a death sentence to protect someone else? Yes, that is precisely what Miss Blackwell, I run out of breath, appears to believe. And that is what we believe as well. Prosecutor Blackwell is no murderer, Mr. Wright. But Athena Sykes certainly didn't kill anyone either, Mr. Edgeworth. So it appears neither of us can afford to go easy on the other. Fine, I expected no less. Ooh, I remember this tense atmosphere. It's so invigorating. I'm only reading notes here, but yeah, I feel extra invigorated too, so let's keep going.
Hold it!
But that's just speculation.
Objection!
No, Miss Blackwell has proper grounds for her claims.
Objection!
Then why didn't you say so in the first place?
Objection!
You're the one who screamed, "Hold it!" and cut me off. Fine, so maybe I jumped the gun by a teeny weeny bit. I'm just trying to understand what you put. I mean, keep pressing on is absolutely Athena's so G, so it fits better in our trial. Okay. Now I know what they mean when they say close enough to argue. Moving on.
Hold it!
This rolling case, I suppose you mean the one that existed in the photo with Prosecutor Blackwell in it, but was absent when the crime scene photos were taken. Yes, that one. And Miss Blackwell has drawn a conclusion from these two photos. She has? And what is that conclusion? You're the one with her notes. Oh, right. Of course. Reading them now. So why the rolling case?
Hold it!
And how do you propose you hit a person inside one of those cases? Huh. Have you forgotten that we saw just a thing only the other day? At your own daughter's magic show. She fit a grown person into a small box. Oh, yeah. Way to ruin the memory of a good day. A magic show? I wish I could have been thought to invite me. I wish you would have invite me next time, damn it. Actually, I would have liked to go too. My apologies. I'll invite you both next time. Promise. So, wait a minute. What were we talking about again? And Prosecutor Blackwell was using the case to hide someone. Oh, right.
Hold it!
But that's nothing more than conjecture. It's hardly the only possibility. In that case, what do you think Prosecutor Blackwell had in that case? I think it was the moon rock.
Objection!
Objection! There were 3 cases at the scene, but the Prosecutor Blackwell won. But Prosecutor Blackwell used the largest one. The moon rock was egg-shaped and only about 8 inches in diameter. It wouldn't have made any sense to use the largest case there to just move that rock.
Objection!
Be that as it may, it doesn't prove Miss Sykes was inside. I like the implication that Phoenix and Uncle Edgeworth frequently attend Trucy's shows. Yeah. Huh. Let me ask you this. Can you come up with a better theory of what was in the case? Mr. Wright, can you? Yikes. Give a guy some time to think. Let's see. Should I try to bluff my way through what could have been in the case? What could have been in the case? Where is the video? That's the one I want. The case is too thin for a person to fit in, even if they were a child. Superintendent could tell the victim's stash jacket and a cart was found nearby. The rumor was stolen. The whole capsule can be seen in the workbench. There are rolling cases for moving equipment, a robot charging station, and a toolkit on the floor. There's a hanging scroll and a Japanese theater mask on the wall. Like, I can see that he picks it up, but why doesn't he take the sword with him? Because it's still here. There's also this handkerchief, which I'm wondering about. I'll bluff. I know exactly what Prosecutor Blackwell carried from the scene. I just have to find something else that was missing, right? No sweat. Ooh, I'd be very interested in hearing your theory. It's true. If it's true, that is. That's a weird way for the jacket to be laying true. This is a crime scene photo taken after Prosecutor Blackwell left, correct? All we have to do is compare this with a photo of the Prosecutor Blackwell to see what's missing. Probably the arm, the big thing here. If he took something with him, then it should be one of these photos. Lady Luck, don't fail me now. All right then, Mr. Wright, let's hear your theory. What did Prosecutor Blackwell take from the scene of the murder? Quickly check again. Yeah, it's not there anymore. You can see that the arm's gone. But here, it's still here.
Take that!
Please notice that there's a robot part on top of the cart in this photo. However, in this photo taken after the crime, the robot part is gone. In other words, this part is something that was taken from the scene of the crime. You do appear to be right. I don't see it in the second picture. But it's just a piece of junk. How important could it be? Is it really just an insignificant robot part? Speaking of which, what are you looking at? I am going to start charging for each glance per eyeball. Stingy, stingy. What happened to the age of free previews? Your Honor, about this robot part, doesn't it look like it could be an arm of the robots there? Or from that robot there? Well, now that you mention it, it does, doesn't it? But the case is still too big to be practical for just the moon rock and a robot arm. But was it really just the one arm that was there? If it wasn't Athena in the case, then maybe... I believe there was another robot in the scene that just looks like the one there. Your Honor, it's the defense assertion that it was the other robot that was in the case. What?
Objection!
Couldn't even bother to sweep up the rubble? We can't be certain that part belonged to a robot. Yes, it looks like the arm of the one before us, but it could be something else entirely. Besides, it's wrapped entirely in bandaging, making it difficult to verify what it is.
Objection!
I know for a fact that it's a robot arm. I can even tell which robot it belongs to, just by looking at it. With this information, we can investigate whether it was there at the time or not. But Mr. Wright, I thought you were more of the technologically illiterate type. When did you become such an expert? I feel somehow abandoned. Not to worry, Your Honor. I still know next to nothing about machines. But I know this piece of evidence proves which robot the arm belonged to. Ah, he's like, I still suck at technology.
Take that!
The robot in this picture is named Ponko. But take a look at the Ponko's arm. It was Miss Sykes who bandaged it up like that. She must have thought the machines heal the same way that people do. What an adorable, naive mistake. It reminds me of my own grandchild. The robot arm at the crime scene had the same bandaging wrapped around it. In other words, this robot arm could belong to none other than Ponko. Yeah! Bring in the violin. Or in the court. Order, I say. Prosecutor Edgeworth, what do you have to say to this? I can see that the robot is about the same size as a child, but it cannot grab its knees and curl itself into a ball. Even if it was the largest of the cases, the robot couldn't have possibly fit in there. The case does come up to about mid-thigh on Prosecutor Blackwell. I am reading it as Edgeworth. I see your point. The robot is much taller than that. They've got me there. So then did Prosecutor Blackwell make Ponko fit to the case by dismantling her? Of course Ponko would fit. All Prosecutor Blackwell had to do was dismantle her. Once taken apart, the robot could have easily fit inside that rolling case. There appears to be a robot assembly device. Disassemble anything in a flash. Press the dismantle button. That sounds pretty neat. Can I push it, Mr. Nick? It sounds rather violent, but Mr. Wright does have a point there.
Objection!
Except there was a body on the table where the robots were dismantled and assembled. There would have been no room to take the robot apart.
Objection!
But what if it was already done beforehand? But what if it wasn't done on the table? What if the katana was used instead? You mean the sword? He is willfully ignorant. You're not wrong there. Yes, Your Honor, Miss Blackwell, I'd like your opinion as a woman of science. Isn't it true that a katana could have been used to take the robot apart? I suppose so. Their joints are made of very tough material. A blade could slice through them. If they're made of very tough material, a blade could not slice through them would be the better way of saying that. Because that would make more sense, because the thicker it is, the harder it would be to cut. You have to hit it multiple times. Sword's not, like, the strongest thing in the universe. Thank you for your expert opinion, Miss Blackwell. Thanks to you, we now know that the existence of the severed arm in this photo proves that Ponko was taken apart. In addition, since the rest of Ponko was not found at the scene, we can conclude that the true meaning of this photo is very different from the original interpretation. You can't mean. That's exactly what I mean. This photo does not capture the moment of the murder. It is instead a picture of the moment after the robot was sliced apart. The blood you see where the arm was cut off was transferred there by a bloody katana. Most likely, the rest of Ponko is scattered around Prosecutor Blackwell's feet. Not hearing this. Therefore, what was transported inside that case was not the defendant, but a robot. Miss Sykes never was at the scene at the time of the murder. My head, my body, where am I? I'm surprised the head came off that easy. And I'm not questioning the validity of the study of a katana. I'm questioning the validity of how sharp swords are. Swords are sharp. Don't get me wrong. You can stab someone, you can impale someone, all that kind of thing. If they're wearing like thick metal armor, most of the time you can't do that. If you have to like really whack them to do that, and you'll be blunting the sword, that doesn't mean that you can't kill people in armor. You can. But the thing is, these are robots. They're literally made of metal. So they're a lot thicker than that. Unless they're like using wires, like as a frame. It's true that Ponko was found in pieces after the murder. Did I actually read that part? Order on the court, yeah. And I'll admit I repaired myself afterwards. Photo of the crime updated in the court record. Yes, I'm finally making some progress. Hopefully I've gotten at least one step closer to proving both Athena and Prosecutor Blackwell innocent.
Objection!
A smug smile. Well played, Mr. Wright. You've made your point abundantly clear. I concede that it wasn't the defendant inside the rolling case, but the robot. Alright. What's going on here? It's never good when he plays things like this straight. Does the prosecution withdraw its claim that the defendant was carried from the kiss scene? No, Your Honor. My claim hasn't changed.
Objection!
But Ponko and Miss Sykes couldn't have both been inside the case. Let him finish what he's saying, right? God.
Objection!
The notion that the case was used to carry Miss Sykes and Miss Blackwell was Miss Blackwell's theory. I've been of a different opinion from the outset. And now I finally have the opportunity to voice my theory. Thanks to the defense, Edgeworth was one step ahead of me this whole time. Yeah, as always. That's Edgeworth. In that case, how do you propose the defendant left the scene? Simple. The footage shows and he shows Prosecutor Blackwell from behind. What's more, he's holding his arm in front of his body. If he was holding something or someone, there would be a shadow. But okay. That's hardly evidence. I have proof of the surcoat Prosecutor Blackwell was wearing. The victim's blood was found on the front of it, and the stain had a highly distinctive shape. Bloodstain? With its distinctive shape? Please continue, Professor. What? You're a professor now, Edgeworth. 7 years ago, the defendant was known to constantly wear a certain item, which there was only one in the world, a special pair of headphones made just for her. She always wore these big, heavy-looking headphones. She said her mother made them for her and paused for research. And my voice is going that Here we go. Analysis showed the bloodstain to be in the exact same shape as these headphones. In other words, this was no mere blood splatter. The blood went from the victim's body to the headphones and then was imprinted onto Prosecutor Blackwell's coat like a stamp. A most gruesome stamp indeed. Blackwell carried Miss Sykes, who had been hit by splatter, away from the crime scene. Gumshoe moment, yeah. And this proves that Athena Sykes was, without question, present at the crime scene. And that concludes the prosecution's argument. Order. If the defendant was indeed at the scene, it deepens the suspicion against her.
Objection!
But we've also shown that the robot was there at the scene as well.
Objection!
I hope you're not making that ridiculous claim that a simple robot was the real murderer. I don't really think that, no, but I can't say the possibility isn't there. Detective Fulbright, was the robot questioned at the time? No, I don't see any record of it. I believe it was considered unrelated to the case. But as it turned out, the robot was actually integrally related. Your Honor, the defense would like to call Ponko to the stand. A robot witness? Hey, it's better than a parrot, man. Order. Order in the court. Prosecutor Edgeworth, what do you think about this? Huh. Mr. Wright has called all manner of witnesses to the stand over the years. So why not a robot? Nothing surprises me anymore. With him. Very well. I'll allow the witness. Bailiff, please summon the robot named Ponko. Make it so that all the robots are in one room so they can't protect the victims and then they can escape. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Walkie-talkie, that works too. My name is not Witness, my name is Ponko. Yes, I realize that. When you are at the witness stand, you are the witness. No, I'm not. I'm Ponko. Say it with me. Ponko. Oh, what an utterly inflexible little robot. Well, the last person who should be calling anyone inflexible. Edgeworth always having problems with the witnesses. You remind me of my grandchild who just learned his own name. How precious. All right, Ponko. I'm going to ask you some questions. Questions? You have questions? Hooray! What are your questions? I want to know if you were there at the scene of the crime of Metis, or the murder of Metis Sykes. It was 7 years ago on the 7th of October around 2 p.m. in the robotics lab. Certainly. Just one moment. Searching data. Search complete. Yes, I was there in the robotics lab. It would seem this robot's testimony is necessary to this case after all. This is great. I just knew Ponko must have seen something important. A murder committed right before this poor little girl's eyes. It's inexcusable. The judge seems ready to adopt Ponko as another grandchild. So, little Ponko, do you think you could give us more of your testimony today? Or give us your testimony? What I saw. I went to the robotics lab around 2 p.m. for my regular chi charge. It was as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mummy Smetis. And then Mummy Metis fell down. After that, I was recharging, so I don't know anything. After I charged up, I was cleaning the room, and Mr. Simon came in. And then an error occurred. There was no data after that point. Well, it sounds like the defendant was without question at the scene. However, it doesn't appear that the witness saw the actual moment of the murder. I disagree. The testimony shows that the defendant did indeed commit the crime. What? At the end of the day, we mustn't forget that the witness is still a machine. Being a robot, his understanding and capacity to express itself are limited. So, what are you suggesting? The witness's statements need to be interpreted. For example, the terms hugged and then later fell down. Adults don't usually fall down after being hugged by a child. Well, you'd be surprised. Sometimes kids, just run at you full pelt and, throw themselves at you. And then you fall down. That's enough to make you fall down. They don't, but... Yes, what this witness's statements are telling us is... that the defendant stabbed the victim with the murder weapon during this moment. What? Before Miss Sykes hugged Dr. Sykes, did the two of them converse? Yes, they did. They spoke to each other loudly, but I don't know what they said. Athena is usually so quiet, so I was surprised. Spoke very loudly, so we can interpret this as they argued. I see. So, murder after a heated argument, and then the victim fell down. I agree that it does sound like a reasonable interpretation, but that's all it is, an interpretation. That's no way in lead of facts. Ponko doesn't seem to remember anything that happened after that. When I am recharging, I go into sleep mode. But I remember everything before that. I have very good memory. You may as well admit defeat now, Mr. Wright. A cross-examination would be useless. You ever been hit by a toddler-sized bullet? I have been the toddler-sized bullet in the past, I think. Don't be ridiculous. A cross-examination is never useless. Until now, think about it. Robots don't lie. This robot is both an important witness and valuable evidence at the same time. Nevertheless, I will have my cross-examination. You might as well examine a camera. But sure, go ahead, Wright. Show how foolish you are. I see you haven't changed. You never were the one to worry about wasting time. Very well. Even if it's a waste of my time, you may proceed, Mr. Wright. I'll show you both just how fruitful any cross-examination can be. And then we find out nothing. I mean, I'll show you. Literally finishes cross-examination. There is nothing.
Hold it!
A regular recharge. What is that exactly? I have to refill my battery power or else I stop working. I go to the lab to do that. So that recharge occurred around 2 p.m. around the time of the murder? That's right. I go every day at 2 p.m.
Hold it!
Hugged her, huh? Which Edwards took to mean stabbed her with a weapon. You said the two of them were talking before Miss Sykes hugged her mother, is that right? Yes, they were talking very loudly, but I couldn't tell what they were saying. Do you have selective hearing? If they were speaking so loudly, you would have been able to hear them. The room's not that huge. Couldn't tell. Even though they were speaking so loudly? I'm only allowed to listen to voices that are directed at me. There you go then, that explains what I was complaining about. Huh. If I listened to every voice, it would be little better than a mobile eavesdropper. Well, that explains why some of Ponko's testimony is so vague. It's a shame that our little friend wasn't listening in, however. We could have learned what they were talking about just before Miss Dr. Sykes was killed. Now then, what happened after that?
Hold it!
I don't know what to delve too deeply here, but I don't want to delve. I need to read properly. Could you tell us how the victim appeared and acted at this moment? Mommy Metters was very surprised when she was hugged. I heard her heart pound. Her heart? Mr. Wright, have you forgotten about this document we found in the robotics lab? These robots have a heartbeat detection system. Now that you mention it, I do remember reading something like that there. Determined the presence of a human with the heartbeat detection system, which means she was still alive. They detected the presence of people by the sound of their heartbeats. But wait a minute. That means if Dr. Sykes really did die at this moment, Ponko, how was Dr. Sykes after she fell down? Could you still hear the sound of her heartbeat? Let's see, the moment she felt her heart was pounding. After that, I don't know, I started recharging just then. Of all the unlucky timing, if you had heard anything after that, it could have possibly proved that the hug wasn't actually the moment of the murder. I'm very sorry, I'm afraid I don't know. I'm very sorry. The robot designed to go into sleep mode automatically, so it can't be helped. But it does appear it detected an increased heart rate at the moment of the stabbing. Ugh. After Mommy met Mrs. heart rate pounding in surprise, she fell by the window. It was the round window on the workbench side of the room. The workbench, huh? Pongo must be talking about that table on the right of where that giant robot is now. Is there something critical in Ponko's statement just now? Yes. Your Honor, I believe this statement is critical. I'd like it added to the testimony. Very well. Ponko, would you please add that statement to your testimony? That's a good little girl. Oh my god. Judge, calm down. You already have a grandchild. You don't need another one. This was a robot anyway. She already has a family. Workbench side of the room, which would mean that they're nowhere near where she died.
Objection!
Ponko, your statement may have just inspired a breakthrough. Mia has some competition. Mommy Mia and Mommy Metis. The Milk Squad. Although, you know, Mia is not a mother. Whatever. I was helpful. Hooray, I'm so happy. Just to be sure, let's go over it again, okay? The victim fell near the window on the workbench side of the room. However, her body was discovered on the operating table. But the operating table and the workbench are two different locations. They're in the same room, so they're not. They're just on two separate sides of the room. Exactly, Your Honor. We just learned a new crucial fact. What could explain the two different locations of the body? I'll tell you what. An 11-year-old girl couldn't have moved the heavy body of an adult. So the only explanation is that the victim walked to the operating table herself. In other words, what Ponko observed near the workbench couldn't possibly have been the moments of the murder. I'm very relieved to hear that. Glad to know that the murder wasn't committed in front of little Ponko here. Yes, as we have just heard in the testimony, Miss Sykes hugged her mother, nothing more.
Objection!
Objection! Right. Why are you saying it so much? Right. It's been 8 years, but you're still just as green as ever. He just got his badge back. Can you blame him? Green? But I can't recall ever seeing Mr. Wright in anything but a blue suit. Hey, blue's my favorite color. What can I say? If the defendant couldn't move the body herself, she could have moved it for her. Moved for her? But Miss Sykes and Dr. Sykes were the only ones there. I agree, since the robot is equipped with a heart detection system, it would have been aware of another person's presence if someone else had been there. We can therefore conclude that the defendant and the victim were the only ones present. Then who do you suggest moved the body? Don't you know that it's in the nature of a robot to help people do things? Miss Ponko, allow me to ask you a question. My name is Ponko. Say it with me. Ponko. I believe you said you were cleaning after Dr. Sykes fell down. Did you happen to move something large onto the operating table? Yes, I did. Athena asked me to. Athena asked you to? And what did you move, little Ponko? Or little Pongo? I don't know. Unless something has an ID tag, I can't tell what it is. An ID tag, you say? Yes, a tag with a barcode on it. We robots scan them to tell us what a thing is. That paper in the lab did mention something about that. Yes, I know. I've read it. Recognize people by scanning their spacesuit or uniform jacket ID tag, it said. So, it would appear that Miss Ponko here can't identify what was moved. My name is Ponko. But we humans have the power to imagine what it was, do we not? Yes, to imagine. Doesn't mean that it was the truth. We do? I have an imagination? Well, I do at the very least. And Miss Ponko, of the defendant command, move the body onto the operating table. Ah! Oh, God! Ow, doing that made my jaw click. Ponko, did you really move Miss Sykes or Dr. Sykes' body? This is really important. Isn't there any way you could tell? I don't know. Without an ID tag, I can't tell. Give it up, right? If the victim's heart was stopped, the robot detection system would be useless. I mean, also registered the face. We did that when we first got there. And furthermore, Dr. Sykes usually wore her white coat while she was working. She kept the jacket with her ID tag on it draped over a chair on the robotics lab, and only wore it for a special occasion. In other words, the victim wasn't wearing her ID tag at the time. From the robot's point of view, her body was simply just another object.
Objection!
But Ponko is equipped with a facial recognition system. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If she really did move the victim, she would have recognized the body as Dr. Sykes. But she didn't, so that means...
Objection!
A face can easily be covered with a piece of cloth, a mask, or anything else for that matter. With her facial features hidden, the robot couldn't be able to tell it was Dr. Sykes. Or wouldn't... He's right. To summarize, Miss Sykes stabbed her mother near the workbench. Then, using the robot, she moved the body to the table, where she removed the sword and was stained with blood. But if that's the case, then I have a question. Why did the defendant move the body to the operating table in the first place? You want a reason? Very well. What? You can't possibly have an explanation. I didn't mean to press that. Your emotions blind you to the truth. You could have learned a lot from our robot friends. Clear, calm, and rational thought will open your eyes to the truth in front of you, Mr. Wright. And now then, do you remember the operating table's one special feature? I believe I read that robots can be assembled and disassembled there. Isn't that right? That's right. And to the defendant, who was a child at the time, the table was like a magic box that could make robots appear or disappear in seconds. In the end, my mom just put her in the operating table and fixed her up in a flash. I was so impressed by what my mom did. I even asked her if she would put me on the table and fix me if I ever got hurt. It looked just like a magic to me what she could do. You can't possibly be suggesting. This young, sheltered girl had a difficult time distinguishing robots from people. Take a look at Ponko's arm. It was Sykes who bandaged it up like that. She must have made that machine's heel the same way that people do. What an adorable, naive mistake. It reminds me of the old grandchild. No way. I refuse to believe it. Miss Sykes made a childish, naive, and cruel mistake. She thought that if a robot could dismantle and vanish without a trace. Prosecutor Edgeworth, if If you're about to claim what I think you are, I demand that you word it as delicately as you can. With all due respect, Your Honor, all I can do is present the truth as it stands. The reason the defendant moved the victim's body to the operating table.
Hold it!
No, don't say another word. Even though it's a court of law, we need to know what you're going to say. Don't say it. Was to dismantle the evidence so that she could get away with her crime. That can't be. True. Order in the court. Order in the court, I say. Edgeworth, she was just a little kid. How can you say such a horrible thing? Horrible? Like I said, you were just as green as ever. I came here today as a prosecutor to seek only the truth. No more, no less. My theory is simply the result of a rational consideration of every possibility.
Objection!
But dismantling isn't the table's only function. It can make repairs as well. It's conceivable that Miss Sykes moved her mother to the table in order to fix her. And thus the title of the previous episode is revealed. I suppose that could be another way of interpreting it. But dismantle or repair, it doesn't matter either way. What do you mean? After murdering her mother, Miss Sykes may have come to her senses. Perhaps she did want to make it appear as if it had never happened. And that's why she tried to repair her mother. Yes, that's one possible explanation. But we mustn't forget the facts of this case. The victim was observed to fall down after being hugged by the defendant, and the body was moved per the defendant's command. These two facts that indicate the defendant's guilt, remain unchanged. This just can't be true. Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence to refute the prosecution's claim? Evidence, right. Let's see. I can't think of any. I'm afraid I don't have any evidence. Since becoming a chief prosecutor, I've learned that the truth isn't always pretty. Hey, Sean. Welcome. Now, accept the truth, Mr. Wright. Your subordinate murdered her own mother. Your Honor, the prosecution demands a verdict. The hostages have suffered enough. What a terrible and tragic conclusion. If the defense has no counter-argument, I see no need to further prolong this trial. Edgeworth's argument seems solid enough. But there's no way Athena could have ever done something like that, even by mistake. Even though, mistakes are a mistake. They're things that you don't intend to happen. What do I do? There has to be something. But I can't think of a single thing. Who gave that objection? Oh, hi. Where'd you come from? You broke out of prison. Prosecutor Blackwell. This is quite the farce you are conducting here. I would die from laughter. Prosecutor Blackwell, what are you talking about? What I am talking about is that your argument is based on an entirely false premise. Go on then, we're listening. Could this be the miracle I need? He's probably just going to be like, no, it was I did it. What is Prosecutor Blackwell trying to pull here? 7 years, or 7 long years. This case has been on my mind. Not for an instant did I not think of it. I'm the one who killed my mentor, and don't think you can alter that fact now. Your boldness. I will take to the stand, and I won't take no for an answer. Oh, of course, Prosecutor Blackwell. Please go ahead. I am the witness now. 7 years ago, I went to the Cosmos Space Center with the intention of killing Dr. Sykes. But when I got to the robotics lab, I found Athena there instead. I would not be swayed from my purpose, so I waited for Dr. Sykes to return. And then I committed the act. Ah, how cathartic it was. But little Pongo here witnessed the victim falling. In other words,
Objection!
I don't need any of your other words, old man. Guess what happened? Which would be... She fell when she fell. Merely that. A mother and child fooling around. Perhaps she tripped. Not that it matters, but when I entered the lab, there was no trace of Dr. Sykes to be seen. There was no dead body either. Of course, nothing, meaning she must have left the room. So the murder occurred at the time period Ponko described in her testimony. Should hardly take stock in the words of a wind-up toy.
Objection!
I thought that was going to be the judge saying that. You can't say that about Ponko! Then how do you explain the fact that the defendant had the robot move something? Nina was always tinkering with the robots on the operating table to amuse herself. She always had Ponko move the heavy ones for her. Like that Squidward meme. You killed Miss Sykes. You also killed Miss Sykes. Is there anyone else who hasn't killed Miss Sykes? Oh, right. Now I get it now. I had to recall what that one was. That day there was no different. Ponko moved a heavy robot for Athena. This is awful. What he's saying seems to make sense, and yet...
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackwell, are you trying, even now, to turn away from the truth? Don't you realize we could bring the Dark Age of the Law to a close today?
Objection!
You expect too much from me. I'm just a murderer beyond redemption. Why don't you just let me go so I can settle down in hell? Prosecutor Blackwell's execution is tomorrow. If the truth doesn't come out now, it's all over. Are you saying that the little girl under the robot had nothing to do with the murder? That's right, so let's hear your verdict. If you don't hurry, I might miss the ferry across the Styx. Don't you dare, Judge. Don't forget I have hostages over here. And Simon, how long are you going to cover for her? Miss Blackwell. Forgive me, Aura. I never wanted you to do anything like this for me. But you agreed to this trial. If you have a counter-argument, then present your evidence. That's the rule of the courtroom. Isn't that right, Chief Prosecutor? Blackwell, you selfish son of a bitch! I'm gonna kill you! He starts going like a real Londoner. He's like, you fucking ringer! I'm gonna throw a bottle at you! You wank stain! Well, to be frank, I don't like this, but it's my duty to make a decision. If no one has a counter-argument, I will announce my verdict. Is this really happening? Is it really gonna end just like that it did 7 years ago? I wanted it so bad! Even now! I want to fly out of here and go save him! No, I can't tell her! But how can I lie to Athena? If I can't prove Prosecutor Blackwell's innocence in this trial, I don't think Athena will ever forgive me. I can't let this happen. But I just don't have the evidence to counter Prosecutor Blackwell's testimony. Oh, hi. You just broke out of the witness stand, did you? Athena, what are you feeling okay? I can hear it. I can hear the voice of his heart. He's hiding something. If he really is, I could sure use Athena's help here. Yeah, let's just bring... Although, to be fair, we also got a murderer as a prosecutor, so yeah, have a defendant be a... be a psychoanalyst. Sure. Her power might be just the thing to get through this.
Objection!
Sykes, Dono. No need for you to chime in here. Just accept that you are innocent.
Objection!
These past 7 years, they've been just as hard on me as you know. What are you talking about? Do you remember that horrible, horrible trial? Cutscene time again? Dad, you have to listen to me. I can't do child's voice. He didn't kill her. It's Hart screaming that he didn't kill her. Even now, every time I stand in a courtroom, it comes back to that haunt me. When I have that traumatic experience and start breaking down, not being heard no matter how hard you try, feeling so helpless. Watching people stare so scared that it feels like your chest is in a vice. I'm terrified of courtrooms. I want to run out of the door even now. She has a courtroom phobia? I mean, it makes sense, but yet you found a way to keep your fears at bay and become a lawyer. Thanks, that's because one day I came to realize that I had to fight. I couldn't give up. I exercised hard and studied hard. I wanted to become the strongest lawyer I could be. This day has finally come, the day I've been looking forward to with all my heart. This is why I became a lawyer. This is why I studied psychology. It was all to save you from this false conviction. It's still so amazing to me that this one game is all about Athena, and Apollo in his own game doesn't have any focus. Like in the previous one and this one. Oh. But Miss Sykes, do you realize what it would mean? You are accused, after all. If you prove Prosecutor Blackwell innocent, then the only thing that matters is the truth. It's my duty to find out what the truth is. Simon, please give me this chance. A chance to shake off this fear that's been with me for 7 years to face the truth. Please, being so brave confronting a past like this. This might really be the chance to help save them both. Prosecutor Blackwell, testify one more time about the incident 7 years ago. Fine, but your efforts will be surely in vain. For I am not a man who can be cut down so easily. Here we go, Simon. Let me hear the voice of your heart. We've gone into Kingdom Hearts territory now. Darkness is not true. Clearly different writers on this case than the other cases. Definitely. Smiley face. Imagine if it goes to like 1,000% because he's that deep. When I went to the space center in the intention of killing Dr. Sykes. But when I got to the robotics lab, I found Athena there instead. He looks a lot better when he's not so tired. I would not be swayed from my purpose, so I waited for Dr. Sykes to return. And then I committed the act, and how cathartic it was. Okay. His emotions are very guarded, and his defenses are way up. Simon breaks the mood matrix. Yeah. He steeled his will, as if he's never let his secrets be known. I don't know about that. We've got a couple of strong wills on our side too. Prosecutor Blackwell isn't the killer, and we're going to prove it. And what was he trying to do that day? If we approach it from that angle, I bet we can find an emotion that just doesn't add up. I don't like that they kind of snap to an animation, like just of having a hand up. Like, show her wrist raising her arm, rather than just going, snap! Tries it on Simon and it blows up. I mean, yeah, it's from when he keeps poking his eyes and all that kind of thing, I remember. It's just, you know... When I got to the robotics lab, I found Thea there instead. I guess that would be why he was happy. I would not be swayed from purpose, and I waited for Sykes' return. So why are you happy?
Got it!
Review your emotions alongside your testimony. We found the unexpected emotion. Wait a minute. There really isn't anything strange here. I don't know. I think maybe we made a mistake, Mr. Wright. I think maybe you're right. Let's take another look. There must be an unexpected emotion here somewhere. I guess this one? Yeah, it was either that one or the other one. This feeling of happiness, Even though the person you were looking for wasn't there, you felt happy? Why is that? Simple. When I was looking for Athena and hadn't found her yet, I grew worried. So when I saw her in the robotics lab, I was happily relieved. Merely that. Well, that went down far. I thought we were going to have to deal with a lot more than that. Just now, you said that you went to Space Center to kill Dr. Sykes. But the first thing you did was look for her daughter instead? I had no intention of harming Athena, so I wanted to confirm that she was safe first. You don't get penalties for this, even but then it can make them lazy with regards to how the mechanic of the moon matrix works. Yeah. It was just part of my plan. Nothing contradictory about that. Ugh. The second I find an inconsistency, he cuts it down. Someone knows the principles of analytical psychology. There's less noise now, but I don't see any instabilities we can latch onto. I was afraid of that. We'll just have to keep chipping away at him then, bit by bit. It's right, Rayman Legends. I have not played that game. I want to sometime, but I just haven't gone around to it. Rayman was great back in the when it was original. So, could you update testimony, Athena? I got it. You got it, boss. I went to the Cosmos Space Center with the intention of killing Dr. Sykes. Info updated. Head pats! When I found Athena in the robotics lab, I was relieved. But I would not sway from my purpose, so I waited for Dr. Sykes to return. And now I'm suddenly sad.
Got it!
Not even you can falsify your emotions, Prosecutor Blackwell. What? When you said that you killed Dr. Sykes in your testimony, you felt sadness. Why would someone had lain in wait to kill her be so sad at her death? Such an obvious attack. Yes, I felt sadness, but it wasn't for her. I felt sorry for Athena and the circumstances. He can't be talking about that, could he? Basically, he gets infinite lives, but makes some level design bullshit because the devs are like, well, they got infinite lives, just try harder. Fun game, though. I was a confused subject for her research. Dr. Sykes is so intent on research, she forced her daughter to undergo experiments. My objective was to save Athena from an obsessive scientist who treated her own daughter like a research subject. What? I went to the psychology lab first. That's where I would usually find Athena's playing. But that day was different. I heard someone crying in the robotics lab next door. Was Athena being subjected to yet another experiment, I thought, as I went to see. Conveniently, Athena had cried herself to sleep, so all I had to do was wait and kill. So that's why he was relieved when he saw Athena. But is this story really true? I'm not so sure how much to believe. Mr. Wright? How are you doing, Athena? Still hanging in there? I'm a lot stronger than I look, boss. Now, take a look at this. The noise level actually increased. Whoa, it went up to 60. It went up? I've never seen it do that before. Prosecutor Blackwell is lying somewhere in his testimony. As a matter of fact, he's piling on secrets, lie on top of lie in an attempt to make his claim sound more believable. He's trying even harder to suppress his true feelings, and that's what's causing the noise. How in the world should I approach this? An evidence-based approach might work if I can find a contradiction. Otherwise, I should look for an inconsistency in his emotions. There are no flaws in testimony, and his boldness is prepared to give his verdict. Give up on this lost cause and let the law free me of these chains already. Let me die! Let me die!
Objection!
I don't think so. Not while I'm around. Now, contradictory testimony or inconsistent emotions. Which should I tackle first? Let's go with emotions first. Okay, let's look for inconsistent emotions. Got it, boss. If you want to try looking for a contradictory statement instead, just let me know. I can easily switch over. I heard crying from next door. Of course I was worried. Surprised! I hurried over and opened the door to the robotics lab. Before I could leave Athena out of there, curse my luck, Dr. Sykes came in. I refused to hand Athena over, so I had no choice to kill my mentor. I don't think there's anything here we can actually use yet. Because this makes sense. This sort of makes sense. I mean, I don't get punished for it, so.
Got it!
Review your emotions alongside your testimony. You found the unexpected emotion. Wait a minute, this isn't right. Let's go back. You made a mistake, Mr. Wright. Let's take another look. Unexpected emotion somewhere. Yeah, I think we need to actually go through the other stuff. You see an unusual out-of-place emotion, just point it out. Is there really any consistency in these emotions, though? We could take a break and go back to looking for contradictory testimony. Yeah, let's try testimony. Okay, let's compare the testimony with the evidence one more time. Crying from next door. Of course I was worried. Let me check. Oh, I was hoping it would show the higher level. Why is it not showing the robotics lab here? I don't know why it gets updated here. Open the door to the robotics lab. It's weird that I can't press on anything. Before I could leave Athena out of there, cross my luck, but the Sykes came in. I like that they make the sword like shine. That's kind of cool. Used to hand Athena over, so I had no choice but to kill my mentor. Is there actually anything I can present? Yeah, I don't think there's anything here. Must be an emotion, at least. Anything really contradictory in his testimony, though. Mr. Wright? If we can't find any contradictory testimony, we could try looking for inconsistency emotions. Yeah. Coming right up. This gets updated again. Let's go this way.
Got it!
Nope. View the emotions alongside testimony. We find the unexpected emotion. We know.
Got it!
I'm just going to do all of them just in case. I'm trying to think and I don't know what we could do.
Got it!
Skip.
Got it!
I say it doesn't hurt to do all of these, so might as well.
Got it!
Oh, surprise, I guess. How odd. Why would you register surprise at opening the door to the lab? Alright, fine. I'll explain if I must. What surprised me was Ponko. Toy figure attacked me. The Dr. Sykes knew full well of my plan to rescue Athena, but she couldn't stand guard over her daughter 24 hours a day. So Dr. Sykes had Ponko do it? That's right. She ordered Ponko to forcibly remove me on sight. So I slashed Ponko up with the katana that was there in the lab. That rickety old puppet wasn't worth of that fine blade. Mr. Wright, it's happening again. There's even more noise now. Whoa, he's back at 100. It's 100% now. What's going on here? Whenever he finds an opening, he covers it up with lies. We'll never get rid of a noise at this rate. It's pretty hard to keep telling coherent lies like that. His mind and will are really as sharp as strong as a katana. Alright, what should I tackle first this time? Well, his testimony, because now I know that that's wrong. Might be inconsistency in Prosecutor Blackwell's testimony. Alright, let's give it a thorough check then. With a feeling of dread, I opened the robotics lab door then. Ponko attacked me. I retaliated by cutting it into pieces. Which does not make sense because the sword would have been bloodied by then. I don't know if I need to present that sword or if I need to present this. I'll do this.
Objection!
Chipping at the blade until it finally breaks. That's a cool sentence there. Compounding lies with more lies is never the answer, Prosecutor Blackwell. Take a look at this photo. That's the photo of the supposed moment of the murder, wasn't it? How many more times must I see that witch damned me for my sin? The ironic thing is, I think this picture is actually going to be your savior now. See the blood stain at the end of Ponko's arm there where it was severed with the katana? I hope you aren't claiming it's the robot's blood, Mr. Wright. No. Stupid judge. Most likely the blood was transferred there from the bloody katana. You know, maybe we should send you to an old folks' home. You're not doing well at your job right now, Judge. Get a new one. The katana already had blood on it, so then it must have been the victim's blood. That's right, but if that's the case, we found a glaring inconsistency. Ugh. You said in your testimony that you cut up Ponko and then you killed Dr. Sykes. But in spite of that, the victim's blood is already on Ponko's arm in this picture. What? But that couldn't be. Exactly. In order for the blood to have transferred from the sword to Ponko's arm, the victim must have had been stabbed first before the robot was slashed. In other words, Prosecutor Blackwell, your entire testimony is nothing but one big giant ball of lies. Ah! Tell the court the truth, Prosecutor Blackwell, now, or I'll kick your ass. You have no idea what you're doing. His voice. There's so much discord. I'm hearing not just one or two, but a bunch of rampaging emotions here. It's hard to describe. It's like a violent whirlpool or something. You mean like the other times where they suddenly have a breakdown and everything goes wild? Or are you talking even worse than that? That's right. I like that animation. That was cool. We'll pay for this. Never have I been forced to reveal so much, but the rest I'll take to my grave. Yeah, we're that good, okay? We're there, Phoenix Wright. We're going to take everything you own and make you realize the truth. Just climbs over the stand and beats him up. Prosecutor Blackwell, you are on the witness stand. You are obligated to tell the truth. Isn't that the rule of the courtroom? What are these complex emotions? They seem to be flowing from one source. I think whatever he really saw that day is causing these feelings. Yeah, there it goes. Whee! Oh, God! Following the sound of crying, open the lab door and then... I saw it, the terrible sea. But before I could lead Athena out of there, curse my luck, Dr. Sykes came in. I had no choice but to kill my mentor. This voice, it hurts to even listen to it. He's been living with this pain inside him for all these years. And the root of all of it is hidden somewhere in this testimony, isn't it? Yes, that's right. Please hurry. Please set him set free, Mr. Wright, and also make it so that my ears stop hurting. Jesus, I'm going deaf. Where to be on the samurai wheel? Let me have a look at all of these. trying to see if any of these stand out. One, two, three. Ah, these are all over the place. He said that terrible scene. What terrible scene?
Got it!
What causes these emotions? Is this? I'm actually not getting any particular reading, Mr. Wright. Guess that's not it then. What could have caused Blackwell to react with all these emotions all at once?
Got it!
Countdown. Sounds like a countdown to a game show. When you opened the door and saw Athena, you became overwhelmed by your emotions. Isn't that right, prosecutor? No, you should know better. And though it's pathetic, I admit I am terrified to speak of it. Prosecutor Blackwell, Miss Sykes is innocent. I will always believe that with all my heart. Now, can't you find it within yourself to believe in me too? Athena is innocent, huh? Can you honestly say you believe that to be true? Right, Dono? I give you my word. Now tell me what you really saw when you opened that door. Curse you, Phoenix Wright. Oops, cutscene done, I think. Or not. It was a tragedy, one I'll never forget. When I arrived at the lab, Dr. Sykes was already dead. She was lying on the operating table, with the bloody katana laid on the floor. Standing between the two, covered in blood, was Athena. I'm sorry, it's just such a cool and dark shot. Like, Jesus, it's so cool. She smiled with a far-off look in her eyes, as she sweetly said, something's wrong with Mom, so I'm taking her apart to fix her. I didn't realize I had to press next, that's why it was on there for longer than I thought. That's what I saw, and now you have it, the truth that you so desperately wanted. Now, I'm not laughing as in, like, I find it funny. I'm laughing as in, like, it's that moment when it, like, gives you goosebumps kind of thing. Because it's cool. They went this far in a Phoenix Wright game, and it's so cool that they did that. And then, I don't know if they ever do it again, but, oh, this is why I like this one, okay? Because it goes places no one else, or none of the other games went to. Prosecutor Blackwell finally tells the truth, and this is what it is? It's beyond devastating. I tried to take my mother apart. I didn't get a chance to read the rest of that. Kill Majorshepard. No, don't kill me. No. No, I'm not doing all of that. That's going to take too long, and I'm going to throw my throat wayside doing that. So it was me. I am the one who killed my mother. Athena. As I said, right? The truth isn't always pretty. Murder, disassembly on an operating table, a scientist using her daughter as a guinea pig. Sadly, it appears that my theory was correct after all.
Objection!
It's true that Athena didn't like her mother's research, but you dare cast aspersions on my mentor after claiming Athena was used in such a manner? Dr. Sykes could be awkward with people, but she loved her daughter with all her heart. She loved me? Your mother hated to see you suffer because you could hear the voices of people's hearts. She wanted to set you free of your pain, so she worked tirelessly on her research. Turns out all it took was her death and then her figuring it out herself. Do you remember those headphones you hated so much? Yes. I had hurt every time I wore them. No, Athena. It's just the opposite. They emitted sound waves to nullify emotional input from the voices of people around you. Your power was much stronger than it is now. Athena's discovered earplugs. Yeah. And those headphones were what enabled you to carry on with everyday life. No, that can't be true. Then why would I have done something like that to somebody who loved me so much? Her love for you was real. That I can guarantee. That's why I knew. That what happened had to be some kind of mistake. Couldn't let you be punished for it. So you took the blame yourself? You and your mentor are more alike than you know. Papa was a witness, so I had to put it in the case, held Athena close, vacated the lab. I threw Ponko away in the boarding ground trash chute. I hid the case on the Space Center grounds. It would seem that we now have all the facts of this case.
Hold it!
I'm gonna sneeze. No, not yet. It can't end like this. Okay, now it can end.
Objection!
Do not disgrace yourself, Mr. Wright. The truth has been revealed. Or are you the type of man to turn your back to things that disagree with you? Have you seen me do court cases before, Edgeworth? You were in the one where I literally went for the truth instead of trying to save Mia. Or Maya. Sometimes I get them mixed up, but you get the point. I'm not... But this... I can't give up now. I have to say something. Anything. Even if it's a bluff. You work at steel presses and even they know how to cancel out noises. You wear earplugs or other ear protectors. You don't need to be a doctor or a genius to work that out. I mean, it's true. But maybe it's like it's on a special frequency that she hears rather than actual... like, things like that. But I don't know. I don't know. That doesn't really explain it. It just says she can hear them. She can hear emotions, which is weird because emotions aren't on a frequency. Or audible. I've always managed to pull through that way in the past. I have to make it work. The fence is prepared to present evidence. Mr. Wright. Yes, Tina? It's... okay. You can stop now. I don't want you or anyone else to suffer any longer for my sake. Athena, what are you saying? You literally went on a holiday because of that, you hypocrite. I killed my mother, that's the truth. It's just like Prosecutor Edgeworth said. We have to face it, no matter how much it hurts. I admit my guilt. I mean, what can they do now? It's just like, oh, you killed your mother when you were 11. You get the executioner's chair. Usually they get put in juvenile prison or whatever because of that kind of thing. As far as I'm aware, it's only when they're like past a certain age that they can certainly be like, if they murdered, they would then get execution. But I don't know. I'm not sure on that. I have to look it up. But could I please be granted just one chance to tell everybody what I recall? Huh. It appears Miss Sykes is much braver than you, Mr. Wright. What say you, Your Honor? It depends if it was premeditated. Yeah, I guess. In light of her courage, will the court give Miss Sykes this opportunity to confess? Very well. Then if you would please, take the stand, Miss Sykes. She's going to be still in a traumatized state. But from the front? Eh, sort of. Thank you for letting me do this, Prosecutor Edgeworth. Thank you, Mr. Wright and Prosecutor Blackwell, for letting the truth be known. I think in America, if so, then they can be given life in prison or death. Oh, okay. Well, this is in Japanifornia and Japan. But Japan follows more closely with Europe law, as far as I'm aware, but I'd have to check that to be sure. They have their own things as well, don't get me wrong. It's just that I think, for the most part, they're following that. And now we can finally move forward and everyone's suffering can come to an end. Athena. Prosecutor Blackwell will be cleared and the Dark Age of the law can come to an end. Yes, admit your guilt and bring everything to its conclusion. I killed my mother. My memory is still a little hazy, but there's no question I remember it. I remember the weight of the weapon in my hands and the feeling of it stabbing in deep. And I remember the warmth of her blood as it flowed down the handle onto my fingers. Your Honor, please find me guilty. I dare say these are all memories that no one but the murderer would have. I see. Thank you for your confession. I believe this trial has gone on long enough. But before we conclude, does anyone have any counter-argument? I can't really say anything.
Objection!
Never mind. I do, Your Honor. Mr. Wright. But Mr. Wright, why? I killed her. I remember it now. Any counter-argument now is pointless.
Objection!
Don't tell me you've forgotten one of the basic tenets of lawyering. Quick question. What's with anime and video games characters always holding their left arm, but never their right? I've seen them sometimes hold it the right, but I do want to know what you mean. Shut it, Edgeworth. Always believe in the client to the bitter end. Athena, you are not a murderer.
Objection!
I said you never changed, but could you ever actually regressed in these 8 years? I won't stand for your childless emotionalism getting in the way of the truth. Emotionalism? Don't lecture me on matters of the heart, Edgeworth. Because I can see straight into a person's soul. I have special eyes! I did a little research. I looked into those special sight locks you mentioned, Mr. Nick. Athena's trying to keep anything from you on purpose. For some reason, part of her heart and her memories are sealed off, even from herself. I don't know why I became a pirate with pearls. Yeah, katanas are more for slicing. They're not very good at stabbing. I get that. There's still a chance, somewhere deep in Athena's heart, there might still be a memory that not even she knows about yet. It might be like looking for a grain of sand somewhere in the cosmos, but still, that memory might contain a new fact that could prove her innocence. Like, if you went back in time and you did the whole, DL6 incident with Edgeworth when he was a kid, and you had the Magatama, you would probably see that he had black soul marks, or soul locks as well. I hope for everyone's sake that you are not just bluffing, Mr. Wright. The way I see it, Gavin's from his sheer delusion. Now then, is there or is there not a problem with Miss Sykes' confession? My memory is still a little hazy, but there's no question I remember it. I remember the weight of the weapon in my hands, and the feeling of it stabbing in deep. And I remember the warmth of her blood as it flowed down the handle onto my fingers. There's definitely something wrong with her memory of the event. I can just tell. If there is a problem with her confession, please prove it to the courtroom. The wronged victim was found only on the blade. If it was the tip, it would be the tip, but it says specifically the blade, which is the main part of the weapon.
Take that!
Isn't that the katana the defendant used to kill the victim, Mr. Wright? I respectfully and vehemently disagree, Your Honor. But I remember it. I remember holding the weapon and getting blood on my fingers. That's exactly my point. If blood really did get on your fingers while you were holding it, then there should be blood on the handle. But please focus on the handle of this sword. There's no trace of blood on it. And therefore, this is exactly a contradiction of the facts. You're right. Oh my! It's not that big of a shock, man.
Objection!
Huh. The defendant must simply have confused a portion of her memories. So then why aren't you using that same kind of conclusion to think that most of her memory is confused? She mentioned it was hazy to begin with, and we can't mull over every minor detail. What? Prove beyond a reasonable doubt their conviction. If there is any doubt, you're supposed to do that. You've done that. You've literally said that's what you're supposed to do. What happened to you, Edgeworth? You've changed.
Objection!
Being in a seat has changed you. But she also said there's no question I remember it, a fact we can't ignore. In that case, why don't you explain what this contradiction with her memories means? Gladly. Just give me a second here to think of something. I want to say that Athena didn't stab anyone, but she said it herself that she remembers the feeling of committing the act. Think, Felix, think. What could have contradiction with testimony memory? What could have the contradiction with test memories? Why can't I read? What could the contradiction with Athena's memories mean? Could it be a different weapon? Miss Sykes said blood flowed down the handle, but the katana's handle is spotless. We possessed Edgeworth. Damn it, Von Kommer coming back from the grave. So, doesn't it follow that the defendant must have used a weapon of other than the katana? What are you up to this time? This is it. This time I found just the thing to end Athena's nightmare for good. The weapon that took Athena Sykes' life was the katana, that much is for sure. So if I can show a possibility that Athena didn't use the katana, it could help me prove her innocence. A different weapon, you say? What weapon would that be exactly? Right, of course, he would ask me that. He's Gotatsa? Gotataser? I don't know what that is. If she said she wiped it off, that still makes it she used it. I can see you are floundering, Mr. Wright. Did you speak without thinking again, as always? How does he do that? But I can't back out now. Not here, not now. That's right, I did, because it's so obvious it doesn't require any thought. What did you say? Okay, so maybe that was an exaggeration. There has to be something. Was there some other bladed weapon in the robotics lab that day? No. Maybe there's something in one of the crime scene photos. No. No, there was nothing. Wait a minute. There is something. There is a high probability that that was in the lab. I don't have the particular weapon here in the evidence right now, but I do have a piece of evidence just like it. Other than the katana, this is another blade that may have been used at the crime scene. It's not this. It can't be.
Take that!
But that's the murder weapon for the Clay Traren case. Yes, this is the knife that took Mr. Terran's life. But there must have been a knife just like this at the scene 7 years ago as well. Toolkits containing utility knives like this are issued to Space Center employees. And a robotics lab especially would naturally have one of those around.
Objection!
But, besides the katana, no other bladed weapon was found at the site. It was in the investigation report, if you didn't know.
Objection!
Of course I knew that, once you told me just now. And then there's something else you already knew. There was a toolkit at the scene. But it didn't contain any blades. Here is a photo of the contents, which means that it was taken. You can clearly see it was taken. You're right. I don't see any kind of bladed tool. Fine. But isn't there something odd about the design of these handles? Therefore, there was no other bladed weapon in the room.
Objection!
I disagree. This toolkit contained a knife. You can clearly see there was a space for it. And what proof do you have of that? Don't tell me your eye for art is failing you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You are the last person in the world who should be criticizing my aesthetic sense. Now, it's simply watching out for your ocular health. Please proceed, Mr. Wright. Notice that the handles of each of these tools have a sort of design on them. Ah, I see that they do. But what significance does that have? It's clear that the one of the tools is missing from the kit. If we rearrange these tools into the specific pattern, we might be able to tell which part of the overall design is missing. Why does that matter? We know that there's a tool missing. Huh. If that is your theory, if your pitiful sense of aesthetics helps you come up with. Edgeworth, let's just let it go, man. Honestly, Wright can say that. He did study for us. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. He did. Show me the court, then, if you would. What pattern of design would we see if we were to rearrange the tools? Do I show this, or do I show... I think I show this.
Take that!
And what design is that supposed to represent? The GIAXA logo, Your Honor. It's all on the Space Center's documents and pamphlets. Oh, I guess I could have done both. As you are aware, GIAXA is the program that operates the Cosmos Space Center. Oh, how brightly the GIAXA logo shines in the sunlight above the entranceway. I really dig the stars and rockets motif it's not going. GIAXA, huh? Isn't that new name of the Federal Space R&D program? Ah, I did see that now. But... yes, with just the tools shown in this photo... adjust. The red A part of the logo is missing. And this is where we find the murder weapon from the Terran case comes into play. If we were to place this utility knife in the open slot... Oh! It's like it fits! Like we needed to do this long-winded explanation of how it can be part of the tool set. It would complete the GIAXA logo. So it would. Then that means... admit it, Edgeworth. My aesthetic sense is keener than yours, and while you're at it, admit that the weapon Miss Sykes used could have been this one. No! Take that, Edgeworth. Get some whiplash. Order in the court. Miss Sykes confessed to having a memory of stabbing the victim. Admittedly, Miss Sykes most likely did stab someone using the utility knife. However, the weapon used to kill Dr. Sykes was the katana. Therefore, the act of stabbing that Miss Sykes remembers couldn't be that of Dr. Sykes. Very well. Let's suppose for a minute that Miss Sykes did use the utility knife. Tell me, how does that change anything? Come again? What if the katana was only being used as a decoy to conceal the true murder weapon? What if the real weapon that took the victim's life was the utility knife? Don't be ridiculous. Or are you changing the premise of your entire argument? I read it, but I didn't take that in at all. What did I say? I'm merely offering a hypothetical situation derived from your logic. Miss Sykes could have put blood on the katana to make it look like the murder weapon, and then concealed the knife on her personage until Blackwell carried her away. That does clear up the contradiction between Miss Sykes' memories and the evidence. If in fact the murder weapon is a utility knife, then fate has dealt you a cruel hand. For you have just proven the knife's existence to the rest of us, with your own logic.
Objection!
The prosecution is attempting to lead the court.
Objection!
You're the one attempting to lead the court, Mr. Wright, by forcing us to forget the facts of this case. Need to remind you that there was only 2 people in the lab at the time of the murder, and that the defendant herself recalls stabbing someone with her own hands. No. It matters not whether the murder weapon was a katana or a utility knife, as long as we know that the victim and the defendant were the only ones there. Cannot escape the fact that it was Athena Sykes who killed her own mother. I don't believe it. Why? Why does this keep happening? Every time I find a contradiction, it vanishes and then suspicions keep coming back. It's almost as if... Huh. Now you're finally starting to get it. Your contradictions keep vanishing because the charge is true. And the suspicion keeps coming back to the defendant because they're where it belongs. Phoenix right. When will you open your eyes and accept the truth? Ugh. Ah! And then he exploded. It's the classic trauma pose for Phoenix, yeah! Ugh. I don't want to believe it. It can't be true. Ugh. But what if? Mr. Wright, you fought a good fight. I think you've done all you can do. Is giving up really the only choice? Or only option? No. Snap out of it, Phoenix. What's the matter with you? Giving in to doubt. I can't look back. Forward is the only way to go. No, Your Honor, not yet. It isn't over yet. Right. Can't lose sight of what's important. I believe in Athena, and I'll always believe in her, to the very end. A defense lawyer never gives up on his client, even when it's quite obvious that they did it. Not in this case, I just mean, even if it's quite obvious that they did it, I will never give up that they are innocent. I killed the guy. No, you did not. You did not kill him. I believe in you, but I know, we knew we were going to come here and I was going to admit this. No, you're not. Sit back down. I have to pick myself up and stand firm. Make that brain of yours work, Phoenix. Matt and God, I was also recalling that. It's like he said the same thing back then too. And then he found out, oh, wait a minute. If I don't see a way, I just have to go back and look for one. Time to rethink this case thoroughly. We're going to the Mind Palace. Whee! I concede the fact that Athena must have stabbed someone with a utility knife. This must have been what Ponko witnessed as Athena's hug. Prosecutor Blackwell didn't see the knife at the scene. This means that someone must have removed it from the lab before he arrived. Who could have taken that utility knife from the lab? Someone else. A third person was at the scene. If I trust in Athena, then I have to conclude there was a third person at the scene. But according to Ponko's testimony, Athena and her mother were the only two there. I mean, to be fair, Zach Gramley, he wasn't there for that. So then, how did this third person manage to escape Ponko's detection? Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of the other one. Never mind, you're right. Sorry. Escape Ponko's detection. I know, this person must have fooled Ponko's recognition by covering her own face. Wait a minute, Ponko has a heartbeat detection system too. Even if they covered their own face, Ponko would have detected their presence. But she couldn't have been able to tell who they were. Wait, that's it. The culprit could have covered the face and posed as which person to avoid detection. Posed and posed as the victim. If the culprit posed as a victim, that would explain why Ponko thought only she and Athena were there. All they had to do was take advantage of Ponko's basic recognition feature. The culprit used this in order to pose as a victim. The jacket has the ID on it. The culprit could have posed as the victim by wearing this jacket through the ID tag with the ID tag on it. But that still leaves the heartbeat detection system. How did the culprit get around that? They just stopped living. They just stopped their heartbeat. That's it. It wouldn't have worked if Ponko could detect the real Mr. Sykes' heartbeat too. So does that mean that the real Dr. Sykes was already dead by that time? If that's the case, who did Athena stab? Yeah! Athena stabbed the real culprit. I love the Man Palace game. I wish it was used more often. That's it. The person Athena stabbed wasn't Dr. Sykes. It was the person who murdered her and then pretended to be her. The real culprit. And now that Mr. Wright has finally finished thinking, let us bring this to a swift end. I like that he's just like, now that he's finished being in his mind palace or whatever you call it, let us end this. Please give us a verdict, Your Honor, so that we can move on to hostage negotiations. You are absolutely right, Prosecutor Edgeworth. I hereby...
Objection!
I didn't say I was finished. I was only pausing for a second. Because I realized something so shocking I had to take a break to digest it. But I know for a fact, now I know for a fact that Miss Sykes is innocent. It's honestly a great addition. It makes it feel like you actually solved a huge contradictional problem. Yeah, it's like we're trying to piece together everything that we've learned to an actual conclusion, which is great. Rather than just kind of like bullshitting our way to the outcome, we're actually thinking about it. It's great. But Ponko saw me. She witnessed the moment of the crime. Yes, Ponko did witness something. She saw the hug. In other words, the moment you used the utility knife. But the person you stabbed wasn't your mother. What are you saying, Mr. Wright? The answer is simple. The person Miss Sykes stabbed was a third person posing as Dr. Sykes. What? Stand up a bit straight,
Objection!
Phoenix. You're all hunched over. You really expect us to swallow that, Mr. Wright? According to the robot statements, there was no third person there. Did you really think I wouldn't see through your ludicrous garb for time?
Objection!
Grab. Master buffering, if you will. Yeah, I get that. It's just, I like being able to make things through my own deduction. After all we've been through, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm disappointed. Don't you know by now that this smile of mine means I have absolute confidence? Huh, you make that pose all the time, regardless of the facts. He's not wrong. Ponko's strange malfunction. Mr. Terran, you look pale. Shall I help you to the sick bay? Mr. Terran? But that's Apollo you're talking to. Oh, this hunk of junk here is a mistaking Apollo for a play. Clay. Maybe Apollo's possessed by Clay's ghost. That was another case of mistaken identity caused by a jacket ID tag. All because Clonko couldn't read Apollo's facial features due to the eye patch. Like Edgeworth said, a mask could nullify the robot's facial recognition, and then all the person would have to do is wear a jacket with the victim's ID tag to pose as her.
Objection!
Of all the ridiculous theories, what good would a silly disguise like that do? Have you forgotten that the robot also has a heartbeat detection system? You weren't there in my mind palace. You didn't realize I thought of that. If there was a third person at the scene, the robot would have detected them. I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth, but that doesn't count for much, I'm afraid. Because, by that time, Dr. Sykes' heart had already stopped beating. What? So does that mean... Yes, Your Honor, the person Miss Sykes stabbed, this third person who was posing as Dr. Sykes, is her mother's real killer. But that's... I'm impossible! Edgeworth is dying. A mask? The person I stabbed was wearing a mask? Order in the court. Miss Sykes, did you say something? A mask. Yes. I remember... Athena, what is it? She's dying! I remember a man with a mask. How could he? What did he do to my mother? My head! We don't have a piece of evidence to prove this, because we don't need proof. We just need brain. Miss Sykes, are you all right? No. Black Cyclops. They're breaking. Well, one of them is. Okay, never mind. We broke a black one. It's all coming back to me. Everything that happened that day, my mother was murdered. He's pretty flippant with it. With what, sorry? Evidence? They're gone. The black Cyclops are finally gone. You didn't really stab your mother, did you? I mean, to be fair, the black Cyclops are more of like a subconscious lie or protection system or something, whatever it was called. And some people do remember things after a while. Like they go through like therapy and things. They're like, wait a minute, I do remember this. So it kind of makes sense, but at the same time, I guess I can understand why people wouldn't like that, because it'd be like, oh, you just removed the biggest threat that these things can't be broken, so you can't find the truth through that means. But I get it with that, but I don't mind it that much. I think it's cool. I mean, it's the only time it actually happened, if I recall. You didn't really stab your mother, did you? It's all right, Athena. Just tell us what you saw that day. I was drawing a picture. When I was done, I went to show it to my mum. I opened the door and then... It's all right. I'm right here. You're safe, Athena. For now. I mean, Black Cyclops came up before and they said they were unbreakable. Before this, I mean, before this game. I think was it the final third one? Can't remember. She was on the floor by the workbench with the katana sticking out of her. There was a handkerchief over her face, but I knew it was her by her clothes. And there was a man there. A man?
Hold it!
Quiet, Your Honor. Shut the hell up! Go on, Athena. Well, yeah, sometimes we have evidence and yet the judge and prosecutor act like it doesn't matter. Yet here... I have to scroll up. Oh, damn it. He tried to attack me. In a panic, I grabbed the knife that was there and... Ugh. One second, because I've messed up my chat by trying to scroll it. Chat, go down, please. Here we go. Sometimes we have evidence and yet the judge and prosecutor act like it doesn't matter. Yet where we talk about a third person, either Judge or Edgeworth ask for evidence. Be true. Trying to sort this out, sorry. There we go. This is why she's a cop. She hates being touched somebody. I mean, I guess so. Right, sorry. I had to fix chat because I had messed with it by accident and it all messed things up. Okay. In a panic, I grabbed the knife that was there and... Ugh. He dodged at first, so I only got his clothes. But I tried again. And this time you got him, didn't you? I did. I remember it clearly now. I did, back of the hand. And then he kicked me and I passed out. He kicked a little girl? How dare he? It went into the back of his hand. Okay. Filling the knife updated. Stabbed the Phantom's hand. Why'd you have to make him have a cool name? When I came to, my mother wasn't moving. I had to do something. I had to fix her, I thought. So I asked Punko to move her to the operating table. And then that's when that traumatic moment happened. Something's wrong with Mom, so I'm taking her apart to fix her. So that's why she said that. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Although, to be fair, not all murderers are going to be like, oh, I'm an evil person. Sometimes it's just, no, I killed this person because they were bad. If that counts me as a murderer, then so be it, as they say. And then get sent to prison. Your Honor, as you can see, the defendant has just given us critical new testimony. A man was there before Miss Sykes arrived, a man who covered the victim's face and put on the victim's jacket. This man is the real culprit. Miss Sykes, do you have any idea who this man was? No, I'm afraid I don't. A few moments ago, Miss Sykes mentioned a mask. Athena, can you tell us anything else about that? Yes, the mask. It was my mom's Japanese theater mask. I think it was the one hanging on the wall in the lab. This is why you don't have Japanese paraphernalia, because someone could just take it and try kill you. I'm joking, but it's surprising how often they use it. Like in murder mysteries, if there's Japanese paraphernalia, they'll just grab them and start killing people in them. Because they're just always dangerous. Oh, you picked up a cursed mask. You are now evil and possessed by a ghost. It's kind of spooky, that mask. My mom used to tell me. That a no mask even has the power to turn an ordinary human being into a phantom. A phantom? It would seem that a new suspect has emerged. And that means that all suspicion against Miss Sykes has... You see, this is precisely why I can't trust the court system. If Miss Sykes is the murderer, I won't accept any other verdict. Miss Blackwell, this is not good. It's like every British 19th century murder. He picked up the vase and hit him, which then shattered his brain. Yes, indubitably, that is the answer. This person picked up some borscht from Russia and ate it, and he choked on it, and he was murdered. A new suspect? Where's the proof this person ever existed? Who says it wasn't all just a dream in the little princess's groggy little head? Ugh. She's right. We don't have any hard evidence of the masked man's existence.
Objection!
Thank you, Mr. Wright. I'll never be able to repay you for all you've done. But I'm fine now, because I can say with certainty that I didn't kill my mother. Suddenly, all of her confidence comes back, and now she's going to kick the robot's butt. Get in there, save the hostages, she becomes a badass. Alright, see you, Raffatron. Athena, I'm so glad for you. More and more memories are coming back. Now. So I'd like to say one thing if I could. Ponko came to the robotics lab after about 2 p.m. to recharge. I went to the robotics lab at 2 p.m. to very good recharge. It's just about charge up. Athena came in and hugged Mommy Metis. And then Mommy Metis fell down. And after that, I was charging, so I don't know anything. I see where you were going with this. If Mommy Metis was really the killer in disguise... Right, then he must have come to the robotics lab before 2 p.m. Do I have anything here in the evidence that can help me find this person who came to the lab before 2 p.m.? Oh man, they got rid of the door. Was that actually it? Does that actually have a time on it? No, it just says Hat 1 launch imminent. Doesn't give any time or anything. The only thing I think of would be the newspaper.
Take that!
This piece of evidence will reveal the identity of the person who came to the lab. Will it now? They reveal away by all means. Oh, how about we team up for this, Mr. Edgeworth? No. How about you, Your Honor? What do you say? Certainly, I'll help you. I'll help you to remember to think before you speak. Ow! Tag team by lemon juice and paper cup. Could an image of the culprit possibly have been captured anywhere? Do I have anything here in the evidence that can help me find this person that came before the lab before 2 p.m.? The camera?
Take that!
Okay, I guess that was it then. This is Prosecutor Blackwell leaving the scene after the incident around 3 p.m. What I'm wondering is, does the video show anyone else passing by here before then? I don't see anything in the investigation report. It looks like they didn't check. Just as I thought. So if we rewind the footage and go back to around 2 p.m., we should be able to see the true culprit leaving the scene. Very well. Let's take a look. There. Please stop it right there. How do you miss the most suspicious-looking person you could see in the entire world when doing a crime investigation? What? It's just like you said. There is a man leaving the scene of the crime. Miss Sykes, do you remember this person? That's him. I'm sure of it. He's wearing my mother's jacket. I did. But what I really wanted to see was the jacket. The jacket on display? That's Dr. Sykes. Do you see it? There's a slash that made with the utility knife that day. And I'm sure that knife is under the jacket somewhere. So then, everything Miss Sykes said. Exactly. It proves that Miss Sykes' memory was correct. Dr. Sykes' killer arrived at the robotics lab before 2 p.m. He killed her and hid her face with a handkerchief. Then he disguised himself with Dr. Sykes' jacket and masks that were there in the lab. The culprit probably knew beforehand that Ponko charged at 2 p.m. every day. So he waited for Ponko to come to the lab before a regular charge. By leaving Dr. Sykes' jacket on, the culprit tricked Ponko into thinking he was Dr. Sykes, thereby making it look like she was alive up to that point in time, all to disguise the real time of death.
Objection!
Drop top. Sorry, but the way he says objection I just find funny. It's either like he's got like a mustache. It's a nice theory, Mr. Wright, but I'm afraid that it's just not possible. How is it not possible? You can literally see the guy. What? Why not? The victim's jacket is clearly visible right there in the video, and the injury, and the fact he's being suspicious as hell. And that right there is precisely the problem. The ID tag on the jacket and the scene confirms without a doubt it belongs to the victim. The person left the lab truly was wearing the victim's jacket. Then how could it possibly wound up back at the scene of the crime? What's going on? That doesn't make sense. Edgeworth is right. If the culprit was wearing the jacket, how did it get back to the lab? Mr. Sykes broke. No, that's not what I... Oh, no, not Miss Sykes. I see. So you're saying Miss Sykes is an accomplice then?
Objection!
I believe Miss Sykes with complete innocence. To the bitter end. But the way things are going, it's very, very well be the bitter end for both of you. I meant to do, Blackwell. Your Honor, please give me another chance. Edgeworth's right. If the culprit was wearing a jacket, how did he get back to the lab? Just doxed his client. The killer used the jacket as a disguise to make his escape. But in order to conceal that fact, he had to get the jacket back into the crime scene. So the culprit simply returned to the robotics lab later and planted it there. Contradiction resolved.
Objection!
That's not that simple. Except that it would have been impossible. The only people who came to the robotics lab after the killer were Prosecutor Blackwell and the people who reported the body. And they claimed that the jacket was there when they arrived. So, when do you propose this mysterious man of yours had the chance to return the jacket? A puzzling question indeed. When did the culprit have the chance to bring the jacket back? The culprit was there at the time of the crime. He could have easily put it back then.
Objection!
I know it was wrong. I just want to see what happens. But the security camera captured the man leaving with the jacket after the murder. You realize you're contradicting yourself now, don't you? Of course I do. Who do you think you're dealing with here? Well, I do hope you also realize you now have to deal with this penalty. Why can't these hurt less? When did the culprit have the chance to bring the jacket back? The only time the culprit could have returned the jacket was when the body was found. Mr. Wright, do you realize the implication of that argument? I do. Most people, when they come across a murder, focus their attention on the body. The culprit could have taken advantage of the split second to plant the jacket. Picking wrong options for our amusement, yeah. In other words, the true culprit of the case, the man known as the Phantom, was the one of the first people to discover the body. I would never have thought of that. Order in the court. What is the meaning of this, Prosecutor Edgeworth? Why didn't you figure this out yourself? The body was discovered and reported by a group of 3 people. They were there to collect the space probe's capsule in preparation for the Hat 1 launch. One of those people had a special bag to transport the capsule in. Oh, you mean the shock-resistant bag? Correct. I suppose that if the jacket was in that bag, it could have been returned to the scene of the crime without anyone noticing. I'll see to it that you get the reports on those 3 people. You will? We should also check the facial recognition database for that robot. If this person felt the need to hide their face in a theater mask, it might mean that his facial data was once registered. Prosecutor Edgeworth, does this mean? I have to admit, I believe Miss Sykes' memories to be credible. You win, Wright. Not that this was ever an official trial anyway. Not that this is a real trial. It doesn't matter. Do my ears deceive me? Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you actually conceding? Is it true, boss? This mean can't believe it. It's over. I won. I proved that both Athena and Prosecutor Blackwell are innocent. Your Honor, I see no need to prolong this trial.
Objection!
Hold on, Mr. Wright. Have you forgotten who's in charge of this trial? That's right. I'm the one who's supposed to say I see no further need to prolong. Shut up, Judge. Not you either, Your Honor. Now silence. Poor Judge. The little princess who was truly beloved by Metis who repaid that love with death. All these years hating Athena was the only thing that kept me going. But what do I do now? Can anybody tell me? How am I supposed to go on? You're not Adrian. Calm down. Miss Blackwell. Literally, this is just Adrian's thing again. I just realized. Aura is just Adrian with the other person that died. Except, you know, she instead of her becoming like very focused on tasks and stuff, she became a dick. How unlike you, Aura. Metis was deeply passionate about her work, and she chose you as her partner. Isn't that? Shut up, Simon. You know exactly how I felt about her. Oh. Her respect as a co-worker wasn't all that I wanted. Then what did you want from her? Kind of personal, Judge, but sure. Did you really just go there, Your Honor? Aura, there is something I wanted to say if you were there, if you would lend me an ear. I have in my possession a lead on who Metis' murderer is. You do? Right, no, you asked me about the identity of the Phantom of 7 years past. That's right. The Phantom. The person Blackwell's been looking for even behind bars. 7 years ago, somebody hatched a plan to sabotage the Hat 1 rocket. The spy was no ordinary spy. We knew naught about him, his background, appearance. We came to refer to him as the Phantom. At the time, I was working with the police to hunt him down. But then, one day, a miracle occurred, and I obtained a lead on him. How exciting was the lead? A recording of the Phantom's voice, but the quality was too poor for proper analysis. Yet I had hope Aura's co-worker was a scientist who could analyze human emotions. So I asked her to evaluate the recording using analytical psychology. And that scientist was Dr. Sykes. Yes, the spy greatest fear is to have his true identity discovered. In addition to Hat 1, Dr. Sykes' results and recordings were showing no targets. But his research into the Space Center bore no fruit. He must have started to panic. He couldn't find them, but where could he have been? Who is to say? Wow, I bet he's never let that out of his sight all these years. How in the world did you smuggle them into prison? Still like for this to be Tequila, but whatever. Tequila would have been cool to have him come back again. Oh, I have my ways. What's more, my partner is especially talented. It's the bird! I worked to lure the Phantom in, spreading rumors throughout the underworld. I was even granted permission to prosecute cases to attract the Phantom's attention. Just try to retrieve your identity. You bloody butcher became my toy. And what about the results? Dr. Sykes threw up for you. Was there any useful information? I get what you mean, Sean. Like, it would have been cool if they kept the Phantom, like, prevalent. Like, oh, they found out that the guy that killed the alderman actually hired the spy to kill him. Or the whole case with the stuff in the legal system was also perpetrated by the guy by making it so then this information was found out that got him killed or something. You know, stuff like that. That would be cool because that would make it like he's a constant threat and is always present and is causing all of the issues. That would be cool. They didn't do that. Which kind of... I wish they did, now that you mention it. But even so, it is what it is. You ever played L.A. Noire? Yes, I have. And I hope to play it in the future, but I don't know yet. Here, you can see for yourself. Take good care of it. It's all I have left of my mentor. I will. Better hold on to this real tight. Phantom psychic profile added to the court record. Subject's emotions rarely fluctuate, and it doesn't experience feelings like normal people do. Psychological profile classified. Emotional output of this voice extremely weak compared to typical voices. Subject deemed to have unique psychological makeup with almost no emotional fluctuation. So they're not psychotic, that's not the right one. The one where they don't feel emotions as much. I can't remember what it's called right now, but yeah. You remember the newspaper flashbacks? That would be a good way to implement the Phantom in earlier cases. That actually, yeah, that could have worked. No emotional fluctuation. Huh? A spy who experiences no emotions, no sadness nor anger, and naturally no fear. He is the very definition of the Phantom, a monster with no heart, don't you see? Now that's not very fair against people that actually have this, what's the right term? Neurological disorder. Because, you know, it's not their fault. It doesn't make them monsters, it just makes them hard to understand or even interpret what human emotions are like. This creature is the rot that destroys our lives and set what ails us all into motion. The Phantom, indeed. A fitting name for the man who, or the one who has brought darkness to our world. Well then. Seems the faint image of this man has started to take shape. Based on what we have learned, I'd like all of you to conduct further investigation. This is not a formal trial, but I do want to follow protocol. If I may, I would like to hand down my verdicts and bring these proceedings to an end. Whatever, do what you want. You'll hear no objections from me. Yes, please, Your Honor. It's over. It's finally over. Oh, whoops. Suddenly, there's another objection. Very well. In that case, Prosecutor Eric Will, could you please take the stand? As a result of this trial, your innocence has been proven. The verdict handed down 7 years ago is hereby overturned. And now, the defendant of the current trial, Miss Athena Sykes. Why do I get the feeling that someone's going to get shot? Like, it feels like everyone stand up to the stand when none of that's been said before. I feel like something's about to happen. Stop building it up. Yes, Your Honor? Mr. Wright, thank you. Thank you for everything. Athena, you're more than welcome. Like, there's just a sniper in one of the windows just ready. It's like, there she is. Bang, bang, bang. It's a potential coping mechanism. Yeah. If everyone is ready, I will now give my verdict. Objection. You. Oh, hi, Apollo. Where did you come from? Apollo. What is the meaning of this? Congratulations, Mr. Wright and Prosecutor Edgeworth. You uncovered the truth from 7 years ago and saved your Prosecutor Blackwell. However, I can't allow this trial to end just yet. Why, Apollo? Why would you do this to us? To be continued? We nearly forgot you was in this game. Yeah, pretty much. He just shows up. He's like, wait a minute. There's more. Alright. Another cliffhanger. I will say, this one episode is better written than the rest of the other ones. It's just weird. Right, how long are we going for? 2 hours? This is the perfect place to stop for today. No, return to games menu. Yeah, so we got a cliffhanger to continue on next time. This exit game, yes. Alright, so we shall pick this up next week. I know it's a long time, but we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens next time. Going by what Refertron said, there's 2 more trial cases after this, so we've got 2 more streams to go, I guess, for this game anyway. We then got the 3rd game to do after this, so yeah, look forward to that. We'll be back with this next week, Tuesday. Tomorrow, I'll be continuing with my Metro Last Light gameplay, which I'm actually kind of enjoying. So tune in for that. That was fun. And I end up speaking Russian at times for some reason because of their Russian accent. I'm just like, my brother, come get me. Also, Apollo is like, this isn't vengeance for Clay. This is for taking my protagonist position away from me, Athena, and Mr. Right. But it's like, you ran off. It's your fault, like Apollo. No, it's yours. But yeah, thank you all for coming today. I hope everyone enjoyed. As usual, like, follow, subscribe, do that bell notification so you know when I next stream. And if you help support me, there's links to Patreon and tips in there as well. And if you do become a patron, get your name added to the patron list here, where I give you a shout out at the end of every stream. And I greatly appreciate you, like I do with Hirokuni and the Swordmaster 37. And together, we will find the truth and stop the Dark Age of the lore from being a bad plot point and getting rid of it so that we can focus on the next game. But yeah, thank you all for joining. Hope everyone enjoyed. You all have a nice rest of the day. And until then, until tomorrow, y'all take care. Bye, Sean. Bye, Rapatron. Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining. Have a good one. Bye.